Hi, this is Michelle Faust with Lemonade Legend. We amplify the voice of people who have great lemon to lemonade stories. We connect them with their stories and their stories to the world. And today I have with me a very special guest, Nikki Schroeder. And she is here kind of to talk about something a little bit different. We haven't done a podcast with an amazing millennial. And not that that's what makes Nikki, but the point is that I think that millennials face kind of a different view of the world. Their lemons are a little bit different, as are their lemonade. And I know certainly in your case, you didn't have the tragedy and drama that some of my guests have had, but your generation does face a certain element, of just being in that generation. So before we start that discussion though, if you would be so kind as to just give us a little background on you.
Yeah, so great intro, thank you. My name is Nikki Schroeder. I'm a mom of two cute kids. My daughter's almost 4, my son is about 1.5 years, and I own an online digital business. I am a 6-figure entrepreneur at the age of 25, and so I'm super excited to jump into that space. I mean, really, that to me is like my full identity. I totally like accept and take in the millennial vibe. Like when people are like, oh, millennial, and I'm like, yes, I totally am. So I can't wait to like jump into all of that.
Well, I have a special fondness for millennials because you guys bring something to the table that, me and my generation and even the generation in between really don't have the expertise in. And that's why I bring a lot of young people on board with my team just to have that expertise. So let's start with some of your lemons. What would you say primarily with lemons in your life?
So starting like from the very beginning, I guess, as a young child, I feel like I had a lot more people to learn hard lessons from in my life than I did role models, if that makes sense. Like I had a lot of people that I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. that isn't like a good road to go down, right? So I have always, from a young kid, been in every sport, every club, anything I could do. I volunteered, like anything I could try to see like where my space was, I wanted to do that right away. So maybe some of those times being a young child where I was like, wow, why is this happening to me? That I would say my lemons, but it also kept me from maybe not wanting to spend as much time at home, right? I was in all the after school clubs. I was always at sports. I was always doing something. And it gave me so many different, I don't know, like things to learn or different passions that, I mean, for example, I took 6 years of Spanish in high school, like all through elementary school. Like my very first Spanish class I took, I was like in the 3rd grade. And I stayed a couple hours after school and did summer school and all of that kind of stuff.
So in a sense, and I hear this a lot from, again, I hate to make this such a generational thing, but yeah. I do hear that a lot about not having the really positive role models. And your way of learning and growing and becoming a successful young woman came more from learning what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Everything's a lesson, or like either a good lesson or a bad lesson, one of those kinds of things. Yeah. So then that kind of led me into trying some new things in high school. I have never been good at art, like drawing and painting. I love it. I love to look at it. That is not my wheelhouse, right? So instead I took a videography class in high school, and that choice really changed like my whole aspect of what I was doing. At the time, I had been studying pre-law, I was in speech and debate. I was a volunteer in advocacy at Arizona State University, and you have to think I was like 15 at this time, right? So from that class, I was offered, before I was 18, I was offered an editorial job working for Congressman Matt Salmon. I worked for Channel 99, which is the local education channel here in Phoenix. I did like video editing for them, and it kind of grew from my love of media. At the age of 17, when I graduated high school, I had an internship for NBC News. A long story short, Christmas came around. One of the editors quit. He's like, you guys always make me work on Christmas. I don't want to do this. And they were like, you, intern, come over here and work on Christmas. We'll pay you. And that's how I started working for NBC. So me not being good at drawing, which sounds so silly, right? Like, that's one of my lemons, but that's really something that like opened so many doors to me. Me ended up taking just a video class in high school, ended up with me being not even 18 working for NBC News. So that's one of my favorite lemon stories. This is just a random sequence of events of things that I didn't even think was like what I wanted to do, but it led me to this amazing opportunity.
Well, you were definitely the go-getter at a young age. Sometimes I kind of see people either falling in one place or another, and that's either you guys are just going after it all, or you're sitting back playing video games.
You know,
where's the in between? I don't know.
No, I'm serious. I was saying about that. So there are two kind of millennials, right? Either we want every single thing handed to us in the palm of our hand on our cell phone, or we know that every single thing that there is to learn, every single thing that there is like in the world is in the palm of our hands in our cell phone, right? So you either can take those two things. I can either learn it all and like escalate super quickly, or I can just like want everything in the palm of my hand, right? Video games or whatever, YouTube.
I think that's a really amazing statement to make, because if you think about it, what you're saying is that through the internet gives us the entire world, and that entire world fits in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that's a great thing. Again, if you're using it in that manner, where it's constructive, you know, then you can become such a learned, educated, accomplished person. So that's great. But let's go to, you are highly educated. You had intended on going to law school.
Yeah.
Comes with a lot of debt. Let's talk about that a little bit.
That's my show notes, debt. So yeah, I would love to. So I finished working for NBC. Long story short, their internship was amazing. I worked for them for a little while. It was actually in Montana. I am a huge city person. I say that so proudly. I am from the Valley of the Sun, right? Like -40 degrees, super cold, snowy weather with not a lot of city stuff. It didn't work out for me. I had to come back to the Valley. So I went back to my roots of what I loved, because what I love about law, there's two different parts. I wanted to do like business consulting as a lawyer, you know, like this is the LLC, this is the process of getting your contracts together, like anything like that. And then I also am really like passionate about child advocacy. It's really hard for children with no money, maybe not stable parents, to find legal representation in times that they need. So that's like part of my passion. So I wanted to go down this route of going to law school. I went to Arizona State. I seriously think I'm not even one semester short from having my bachelor's degree in business law. I've always loved business, but here I am. I'm 20 years old. I'm mentally sitting in the bank getting ready to apply for $100,000, right? I also had just had my baby, and on top of that, I didn't know if what I wanted to do in law was what I wanted to do forever. I had already been working for a law firm at that point, like all through my entire pregnancy, up until the day my water broke, right? I worked at a law firm. I worked 60 hours a week. It was a lot of paper, a lot of reading, not a lot of like making an impact, right? And as an intern, I understand that's probably not what I was going to be doing anyways, but still, I didn't know if it's what I wanted to do forever, because there's other programs like CASA is a big one here in the Valley where you could help on child advocacy and things like that. So here I am, I'm like, okay, $100,000, new baby, got to pay for school, got to do this, got to work 70 hours a week. I'm like, okay, there's only so much, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make more money so that this is like an impossible statement, right? I have to figure out how I can make more money with less time because I need to spend more time with my baby and I need to have more time for school, especially if you're going to go to law school, right? That's a full-time job on its own. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I started looking online, right? I found online jobs. I was writing. I had some video editing skills. So that was really popular, right? I'm talking about 2 or 3 years ago. So everyone wanted a podcast, a YouTube channel, like Facebook Lives. What do you do afterwards? Like all that kind of stuff. So I found a couple women in some of the local like Facebook groups that were interested in either trying to launch a podcast or a YouTube channel or something like that. And I did some editing for them. And because that is a skill that is expensive to someone else, I could cut a video business or like a media business. I could cut the price in half, but still make more than $12 an hour, $15 an hour, which doesn't pay for daycare. And I got to do it on my computer at home with my baby in my lap, right? So I was like, yes, I am winning. Like, this is amazing. And then people would be like, okay, I posted my YouTube channel. I'm not getting a lot of views, right? Oh, well, you need to put it on your blog. And they'd be like, oh, I don't even know what a blog is. Okay, well, let me make you a blog post and I'll show you. Oh, let me help you with your website because your website doesn't even have a place for a blog. Let me do this. You don't have a call to action in your video. Let me make you a button. Let me do this, right? So then my video editing skills became a little bit more like business, virtual assistant helping kind of, right? Mm-hmm. And so with my degree in business, I had worked for a law firm and we had done a lot of like consulting for other law firms around us. And then that basic skill, I launched Fempire. I was like, you know what? I was like, I know that I can take small to medium-sized businesses and grow their business. And I am pretty open about like money and what it takes to make money online and all of those kinds of things. So really, I told myself, like, not that this was my goal, but I was like, even if I had like 10 clients that paid me $200 a month for video editing and like full service for social media, I was like, that is more money that I made working 70 hours a week at a law firm, and I am at home with my baby. I was like, wow, okay, I'm on to something, right? So then I never looked back. I continued to grow. Now I barter services with lawyers, photographers, real estate agents, like all that kind of stuff. And so to me, I'm like, that is my ultimate lemonade, right? Like that struggle of like, how do I make more money with not spending less time, right? Because you're like, well, I can always get 17 jobs and make more money, but that doesn't help if you have a new baby at home. So yeah, to me, I think it's like, it's still a miracle, right? To me, I'm just like, it's so surreal sometimes. I'm like, oh, I can't believe that this is like what you get to do in the millennial space, or that this is reality. I've had clients in Australia. Most of my clients don't live in Arizona. Like I would say I have 2 clients here and the rest of them are somewhere else. UK, like all over the United States. I've worked with people in Canada. Like it's just the whole world in the palm of your hand, like right all the way back full circle. It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Well, first off, came to mind as you were talking, you're a bit of a right brain, left brain person, I'm thinking, because you certainly seem to have a creative side to you, but You're very business oriented. And the person, the side of you that wanted to pursue law, definitely. But it sounds like you really did create that lemonade story. So you had a problem, you had an issue, you're working too many hours, you had too much debt, you had a baby,
$100,000 at 20. I'm like, I don't even know what credit is at 20, right? Like, how do you even obtain that much money to go to law school?
Well, and I also think too, when you talk about the different generations, so many of us, past a certain age, grew up with seeing our parents working hard, working in a very traditional 8 to 5 type of a situation. So, that was our pattern, that was our role model. And so I think it's very hard for some of us to look at somebody who's working at home with their baby on their lap and making all kinds of money. And it's kind of like, I mean, that's a great thing, but I
Yeah,
think some of us look at that and go, oh, they're not working. How can they be making money? That just doesn't make sense.
yeah. Look, my mom is my ultimate role model, right? She had like a troubled childhood. She worked really, really hard to pay for college. She did the whole thing, right? She was a single mom at one point. She had 2 kids. Like now she has she's in the medical field, right? So she does the 12-hour days for a few days a week, the whole perfect thing. She still comes to me and she's like, I'm so proud of you. What's your 401k plan? I'm like, I don't know, because I have my own business. I haven't got that far yet. I barely even know how to do my own taxes, you know? So there's definitely struggles that are important that come from that traditional thing that millennials have to learn, especially like health insurance, like 401ks are the big one. I'm currently in the process of trying to buy a house, and you should see people when I try to show them PayPal statements that are large, but they don't know what to do with it because it's from PayPal or Venmo or whatever else, right? So there's like this gap. We got to get there, and it's not like, it hasn't become popular yet, but yeah, I don't know. There's all those traditional aspects trying to mix with like the new digital age, and we're like clashing heads a little bit.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of like you have your foot in both traditional kinds of worlds, and you know, you're married to your high school sweetheart, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And you know, so yeah, so I'm assuming you probably married a bit young, but you know, and had kids, and you know, so that's a little more on the traditional side, trying
Yeah.
to buy the house and have the, you know, the dream and all of that.
Yeah.
But which is great. But I'm fascinated at how so many people make that work, and you know, that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm learning it, you know, way after having spent 20 years in a corporate world, and it's confusing and it's mind-boggling, but it's energizing to me too, because I feel like I learn something every day. But if I didn't have people like you know, on my team, I would be light years further back. Just like,
It sounds so natural. Well, part of it too is like when I was in elementary school, they introduced Mac. So this is something about millennials that I think is really interesting. I don't know who like curated this plan, but there were only Macs in my elementary school. I have never in my life used a Windows computer. They were in my high school. I own an iPhone. I only own Mac products. So when someone went, so this is a funny thing, when I go to interview at like different kinds of corporate jobs, like I've done different sales positions and things like that, and they have Windows computers and I don't know how to use them, they are like, I'm so surprised you don't know how to use a computer. It's like, no, I've never used this type of computer, you know? So there's definitely like these quirks, but like we were talking about, we can honestly learn anything like super fast on the computer. But I don't know. I think it's amazing how different it is.
Well, yeah, it is. And anyway, when you said you weren't sure who curated that, I'm pretty sure Apple company did.
Someone was like 25 years down the road, they're not even going to know how to use it.
This is all going to pay off.
Every single tool everywhere. That person, very, very smart.
But then, you know, I mean, that's real life skills you're being taught too, which is fantastic, because I think that sometimes there's some struggle with, you know, the education system. Are they really learning things that they're going to apply to real life? But you also bring to mind, I have a young woman who helps me with my administrative side, because I don't excel in that area, not my strength. And so she comes over and we laugh at each other all the time, because I'm like, you can do that? And it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's like, why would you even ask that? And I'm like, I've never seen that before. And by the same token, you know, I'm still old school. So I learned certain systems. So I'm doing things on Outlook, and she's like, okay, give me a minute. I don't usually work Outlook, but I can figure it out. You know, and she does, she can.
Yeah.
She's like, that's not my go-to, but just give me a minute and I get it figured out. And I'm just like, wow. So I'm constantly impressed, and I think it's just so great. And I really support the idea of the different generation bringing their strengths together and blending them, because there's a lot we have to offer, having been in business for years and years and years. So I'm an advocate of that.
Yes, I agree. Like all of my mentors, any business coach, anyone that I like look up to is way older, right? Like I'm not in a space of like learning from a 21-year-old, because I need that tech. Like I have the tech side, but I need like the years of experience. You guys have user experience, like the personability, because something about the online space is you have to make someone feel like you're friends, or that you have their like best interests at heart, or all those kinds of things that is very not very popular on social media, right? Like you're like, oh, I see pictures of her kids, but do I trust her remodeling my kitchen? You know, like, so you guys having that true, like, even I call it like grassroots marketing, like door to door kind of connection, I think is something that we can absolutely learn from.
Yeah, something I learned a long time ago is, within marketing and just business and sales, is people buy from those they like and trust. And it's hard to build that relationship where they do like and trust you if you're not face to face, or if you're not, if they don't really know you, you're just this name, or maybe this video that's on social media. Yep. So there has to be a way. I think that's the key, is finding that way to come through on social media, so that people do feel like they're getting to know you. And one of the things that I do with Lemonade Legend is, I help people, connect to their story. And it's not always just a personal story. Sometimes it can be a business story. How do you storytell your business and what you do? Because that, I think, is what brings people in, so then they start to understand and start to want to get to know more about you and what do you do. So I think, so that's one of the ways I think marketing is coming around, is that, we have to look at a different way to get people to know you. Yeah,
totally. Those core concepts, like in an email, it's really hard. So hard, right?
Oh, yeah. And I got to tell you, there are some people that when I text message them, we sound like we're mad at each other. And, and I go, we got to get on the phone because this is just not going well.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of the sales funnels and things that people are trying to do online, like I bet as a millennial, I use the internet much different than like my mom, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, if I am looking for something inspirational, an outfit, dinner, whatever, I go to a social media search engine. Like I'm not going to go to Google and be like, find me a cute outfit, right? Like you go to Pinterest. Right. And from Pinterest, you have a reverse search of where they got their shirt, who's wearing it, right? You have all the celebrities. Like that's how I shop. Yeah. If I'm looking for something local, you can literally hashtag like AZ shop small. There's so much stuff to buy, right? So I think just teaching everyone how to use that, because you see on Facebook a lot, like, what are you guys selling for Christmas? I need some stocking stuffers. I want to support local businesses. Well, instead of waiting or only 1% of people seeing it because of an algorithm, if you hashtag it on Instagram, you've literally just introduced yourself to thousands of people who are trying to promote themselves on social media, right? So that whole like full circle thing is totally like how we can help each other, and just another way to like grow, like support small businesses and all of the stuff that like us women business owners support, right?
I'm really glad to hear that that you really support the local businesses, because that's what makes different communities unique. I travel, and sometimes when I've spent thousands of dollars to go somewhere, I feel like I'm still here, because there's the McDonald's and there's the Walmart and and I'm like, well, I didn't need to leave home. Yeah. So I think, so it's the restaurants and the boutiques and, all the unique places that really define, it, how is the city or town different? And, we need to support people who put themselves out there in an entrepreneurial way and take a risk. And so I'm sorry, Starbucks, but if I can find a local coffee shop, I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really in the marketing world, it has become like very apparent to the big name stores. A couple of them have closed recently,
Mm-hmm.
if you are a local boutique who has a very good Instagram strategy, I see you on my Facebook, you can entertain me like from a casual perspective to going out to like something dressy, all those different things. Maybe you have stuff for my kids that match me. It is more fun for me to go there and support you than it is some of these other stores, and the other stores know it, right? Because now we're in a space where like 10 years ago, you had to have money for magazine prints. You had to have commercial space, radio space. You don't have to do that anymore. You can be in front of 10,000 people just from talking to people in your community, going to it. And if you're thinking about starting a small business, it's just social proof, right? That's all that Facebook or Instagram is like, look at all these people that love my stuff. If you've ever been to a clothing store in the mall and you're like, wow, this is really expensive and probably just as good material, why wouldn't you support the small local business? There's these kinds of things that really intertwine between both
You make some really good points there. And I know something that I struggle with, I'm learning to do this better, but I'm sure a lot of people struggle with it, is that blending of, yes, I am in business. I'm in business to make money, but we need to be friendly and outgoing and fun and engaging, and the whole attraction marketing thing. And I spent so many years being so business minded that it's kind of hard to go to that space. And then my mind is telling me, but I want to talk about my business. I want to talk about what I'm doing, and it's so different anymore. I mean, that's just not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And
how can
you're teaching us how?
What is your footprint in your, what is it called? Like a global footprint? Like how much carbon monoxide do you give off in your, whatever, I don't know, whatever. Like are the straws in your cafe, do you have metal straws? Do you have, because that's very popular in Scottsdale, right? Do you serve straws in your business? I don't support businesses that serve straws. I don't like bamboo straws or whatever the new paper ones are that fall up. I don't like those ones, so I also don't want to go there. I want something in the middle. No straws, metal straws. It's become so competitive and so local that there's really a niche for everything. Some people are like, look, I'll recycle. I just want my plastic straw, right? I just want the normal straw. Please start making me drink out of glasses without straws, right? I don't know. I think all of those things, there's so many avenues and so many ways to look at business now because of social media. And I know clothing boutiques that will say 10% of local ones that say 10% of all of our sales go to our animal shelters. Mm-hmm. One statement like that, one Facebook ad, one something, you better believe that a lot of people support that.
Yeah, your generation is really running that movement of giving back, and I love that. Yeah. And if you're not donating a portion of your profits to some charity or putting your time out there or whatever, then you're missing the boat. Because I do think people actually look for that, and that becomes one of those deal breakers almost. Mm-hmm. But in fact, I was reading, you were talking about shopping Pinterest and what celebrities are wearing what and this and that. And I was reading an article in Green Living magazine, and it's a group of young women who are making a business out of recycled clothing. Wow. In the name of saving the planet, because if you're recycling if you're wearing used clothing, that's less clothes that are being, manufactured, less materials going into the dumps and whatnot. And anyway, and they all look fabulous. I had like these four women on the cover that, you
Wow.
know, dressed to the, they looked like they were dressed to the nines, or maybe not to the nines, but they were dressed to their personality, and they
Yeah.
looked great. And I love that idea that, why are we trying to buy the most expensive and most outlandish, you know, shoes and purses and, yeah,
You
but
know
in,
what?
yeah,
On that topic, I recently read something crazy. Like the 99-cent flip-flops that you buy from Walmart or whatever major from a major store is they don't like fully like they're not biodegradable for 15 years. A flip-flop will last in like a garbage area for 15 years.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is insane. It's insane.
It is, and there's so many products that are out there that don't decompose for years and years and years and years, you know, like decades.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, with the talent, the technology, the abilities that we have, I can't believe that we're still making things
Yeah.
that are going to take decades. That, you know, I'm going to die before that, you know, thing completely decomposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah. So what I want to talk a little bit about is, so it's a great time to be living in this world and to be young, and it's also kind of a difficult time too. So what would you tell, I don't know, they wouldn't still be millennials. What's behind you?
Gen Z.
Okay, there you go, Gen
Yeah.
Z. Yeah, talk a little bit to that of some of the advice that you would give. I mean, because you're successful, you figured it out. What would you tell them?
I think that there is a lot of noise, and I wanted so badly at 18 to have my life together, right? I had enough money saved before I moved out. I got my own place. I had my own car. You know, I paid all my bills. I was going to school. I had this whole thing, right? If you are not like within your passion or don't know like who you want to serve or what you want to do not go $150,000 in debt to go to school. I am pro school, right? We need doctors. I'm not like a millennial that's like, no, don't go to school. Don't go to school to get a communications degree. Don't do that. Like, don't do that anymore. You don't need to do that. But to the generation, find what you're passionate about, because I mean, our life expectancy is a long time. You're probably going to work until you're 80 years old. So you better love what you're going to do, right? Just love what you do. And there is always money to be made, especially when you're actually helping people. You know, like people are always happier to help you back. So be passion driven. Don't take out a ton of money in debt. I don't know if that's because I'm such a millennial, but I'm like, please don't pay. Don't do that. Just relax, breathe. You have so much time. And someone that I look up to that's a mentor, he kind of opened the eyes where if you want to do something as passion driven and it doesn't work out, you can always go back and get an accounting degree at 30. You can always go back and do that, right? If you don't want to do anything else, you can't figure out what it is that you want to do or whatever else. And then another thing that I would love to touch on for Gen Z is, holy cow, you have to realize that social media is only what people want you to see. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm shopping for houses, and I look at my daughter and I think more power to you. I wear hair extensions. I like expensive stuff, right? But you don't have to have lip injections at 15. Like, you don't need hair extensions. You don't need your eyebrows microbladed at 12. I see all this stuff, and I don't even know what my daughter's generation would be, right? Like, after Gen Z, anyone that's listening to that, like, the perfect marriage, it's just a picture that someone was yelling at you to sit still and smile, right? Or I don't know, there's all these things that come with social media and the stigma around people having amazing lives. You don't know what was happening before and after that picture. We as moms know that screaming, just smile for 2 minutes, just smile, freeze, everyone stop. okay, and then take the picture and you guys are all cute, and then you go back to like, okay, go do whatever you're doing, right? At some point we've all done that. We're like, everyone needs to freeze, everyone get together. It's just 1 second of one moment, and it doesn't show the rest of the day or the rest of the month or the rest of the week. A lot of people on social media, they actually wear, like actually for me, for example, so I have a photo shoot on Saturday. I am going to 5 locations and I'm bringing 7 outfits, and I will not take any more pictures in my business for probably 6 months. So when you see me at the cute coffee shop, when you see me in this cute outfit, when you see me whatever, that is not my life every single day. It was one Saturday that I planned out for 3 months, right? So I really love that message. I really wish people would stop being like, why does she have all these outfits that I've been like putting together for 4 months, right? Like, this isn't my closet, this isn't my life every single day. So just be mindful of what you're looking at, and just like, don't get too sucked into the internet, like be in your own moment too.
Good advice. I mean, not just for the Gen Z, but everybody. I mean, because we all grew up, you know, with movie stars and you know, the images that are impossible to reach. Yeah. And so one of the reasons I'm excited to be in the space I'm in is because through telling stories, people have to be a little bit raw and vulnerable when they dig deep inside themselves and say, this is my story. This is who I am and what I went through, and I'm not perfect. I may look like I'm perfect because I try really, really hard to look perfect, and then I go home and I curl up in a ball and, you know, pull the covers over because it's exhausting to try to be perfect.
Yes,
it's not fun. And I'm really glad that we're seeing a kind of that, I'll call it a movement, but I think it's just a move towards understanding we aren't perfect, and that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to expose our scars and be who we are. And so that's just a great space for me to be in right now. And I'm learning so much about people because of that. Yeah. And I have learned so much about you today. You're great. I want to give you a chance to give any contact information you would like out there, so that if somebody would, because you obviously know your stuff and you sound pretty brilliant. So let's go ahead and give the folks your information of how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so unfortunately, my name is super hard to spell. It's N-Y, as in the second to last letter, C-K-I, at Fempire Marketing, F as in female, empiremarketing.com. You can follow me on social media, any of those handles. And I'm always glad to talk. I offer free 45-minute consultation calls just for strategy if you need some ideas. But maybe you're not ready to move forward, or you're not sure if you're in the right place financially, or you just need some quick day-to-day tips. I'm always happy to do that for anybody who just wants to reach out. So that's how you can get a hold of me.
Good. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, Nikki. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I look forward to future conversations that we have, and helping to support each other, build each other up. And really happy to have you in my Lemonade Legends circle. And I appreciate everybody listening in, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and we will see you next time.